oh, we missed like whatever that cutscene was at the beginning. I hate when games start with that. That's always a pet peeve of mine. Like I'm just opening it and I'm just trying to get it to work or whatever. More of like a streamer problem though, like first world problems, streamer problems. But no, this will be my first time looking at New World since it came out. Basically, the open beta I think I played it in. And what's funny about me with doing stuff like that is like I played it once then with the intention like, oh, let me just see what it's like, let me try it, see the hype. Whether I liked it or not, I didn't like commit that, oh, I'm gonna make a whole series out of it or play it a ton. Or that was even like when I wasn't even streaming anymore, but still, like I just played it once to try it. And what's interesting now is when I go back to play it again, I won't continue from that same character. I'll actually restart and see, oh, well, let's see what's different now since it's been a couple years. And so I'll end up doing the same thing over just to see like what's different even in the tutorial and things like that. But yeah, so and then if I come back in another couple years, I would do the same thing. Let me, instead of continuing for a second episode, even in the course of every couple years that I come back, I wouldn't even have done a second episode. I'll just always restart from the beginning just to see, like, oh, I want to see what's different and have like a first experience, because it sets up for basically, you know, oh, maybe I'll make a series out of it and try to get from like 1 to max level, you know, on a character like I like to do in MMOs, like first play through permadeath, try to get to max level without dying and just explore and things like that. But basically, my whole initial criticism with the game in that first session was that the way they originally marketed the game was as like almost this real world survival type of thing. And so the problem with that is that respect each other. No, you got to grief and troll. Why does it seem so familiar? Why do I feel like I've read this in some other game in the exact same way? Is this like a baseline thing that they outsourced to other games? I swear there was one other game I played that was like an overhead Diablo perspective. And then I made fun of one of these, like, what if I say pretending to be someone else? That's a new one. No, but basically what I said was that the way they marketed the game, and people who saw the original trailers and stuff, and you can go back and look, they only showed it like, oh, it's a survival game, you're gathering, you're crafting, things like that. So I thought it would take place in a more real world setting, even if it's like a historical context, and they might go through historical periods, like when the game first comes out, you're like a caveman and you're in caveman times fighting wildlife and things like that, and crafting and gathering there. And then it would, every expansion or update or something, it would work towards a more modern setting, you know, go through different medieval times and things like that. But I thought it would play it mostly real, kind of like how, you know, there's Microsoft Flight Simulator, it could have been Amazon Survival Simulator, and that's really how they showed it. They didn't show anything with magic or any kind of crazy stuff. But then when I go in to play it, I get to like level 6, and we have these big portals and demons and, you know, magic and witches and crazy stuff going on, and it's like, that's fine. But there's enough games that already do that, so I thought it could have distinguished itself. And I almost feel like that was a knee-jerk reaction that they made. Maybe they were originally intending to do it, like I said, and liked how they marketed it, but then they suddenly decided, no, that's not going to work, or they had some doubts, so let's just throw in a bunch of random shit and magic. I feel like at the very least, they should have saved that for a future expansion. Like, after an expansion or two, they could slowly work in these other elements. Like, oh, we discovered this crazy artifact that allows us now to use magic, like some whatever standing stone in the world, and everyone goes there and learns magic from it. Or, you know, you could have introduced it gradually throughout expansion after another, because that's what these games do anyways. They keep introducing more and more wild shit the longer that they're out for. But, you know, that was a big mistake to me. I would have preferred that. Again, just more real world sort of survival element to it. You know, crafting, gathering, fighting real world type of enemies, whatever, you know, wildlife, things like that. It must have been because of PETA. They were afraid to do that. PETA shut it down like they're going to do with Power World. I don't remember if it's even going to have my, work of supernatural fiction, but it didn't actually seem to indicate that. Because see, what that does is it distinguishes itself a lot. Whereas now it's like, oh, it's just like every other MMO, and, you know, maybe it does some things better or worse, but player deaths heat map. That must be something in like a raid. Online friend 00. Characters. So why do I not have any characters though? I mean, or maybe that was because it was the beta, so it wouldn't carry them over anyway. And I guess it doesn't matter. What does the sun mean? Only new characters can be created in this fresh start world. Other characters cannot transfer. I don't know if I really care about it being a fresh start thing or not. Why are there so few servers though? Does that mean like the game is dead or something? There's hardly any servers, and even of the servers there aren't that many people playing. Yeah, maybe my premise prognostication is correct, that like, oh, they should have. I guarantee you a lot of people felt the same way. Like, they thought going in it would be something other than what it really was, because I swear the way they showed it was not like it. So then I go in, I'm level 8, and it's like, oh shit, there's this portal and there's a bunch of demons coming out of it, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Where did that come from? Only new characters, yeah, obviously it's a new character. Toggle, aim, and block, but it's more like a hands-on, tactile sort of combat system, almost like Elder Scrolls, like where it wasn't as much tab targeting, but it might be a mix between. I can't really remember. And I will play a mage, as is always my text to speech, speech to text. What do you call it? Or I forget, actually. Maybe it's like they don't let you go in with a class. I really can't remember anything about it. But we'll see if even the starting area and stuff is different. You started like on the shore, on the beach and stuff. Just like in Path of Exile, actually. Try to see if I can remember this. I think I maybe do. That guy's one of the cover art mascots, actually, for the game. They start off and within 5 seconds is already making references to magic, though.
The stories you've heard, they don't tell the whole truth. The island is indeed the place of legend. There's power and vast riches as well. But those who've gone before you have simply vanished, never heard from again. I saw the horror, the madness that overcame the crew. It was beyond any evil the world has ever known. How I survived, I do not know. The contents of this box are not of this world. They will guide you to that one, wherever and whatever that may be. Go then, Captain. Chart your course and your fate. I will say a prayer for the souls of your crew.
He looked almost sinister when he said, oh, I didn't know how I survived. Like, he does know, but he just doesn't want to tell you. Like, oh, I used some black magic, or I was the one who killed everybody. For some reason, but I'm still telling you this. Just the way his eyes were red and stuff. I don't know what. If I'm maybe reading too much into that. Or yeah, like this is how Elder Scrolls Online starts, right? You're on a boat. This game copied everything. Path of Exile, Elder Scrolls. Although I think the combat style and the gameplay is kind of inspired by that a little bit. Body type, face. Okay, I'm not really going to care too much about all this, but I sometimes just like to randomize stuff. Like, he looks pretty cool. Modern SJW, am I right? Haha, the blue hair. I actually kind of like blue hair in chicks, though, so I don't really look at it like that. But, like, what is the real societal overlap that you can find with that? Why does blue hair have to do with that? Anybody can just dye their hair blue. Like, it doesn't matter. Or even, like, blonde stereotypes. Like, oh, blondes are stupid or something. But anybody can just dye their hair blonde, unless you're naturally blonde, which very few people actually are. I almost like an older looking character. Like an older, almost creepy looking characters with like white eyes or something. Which would suit with some sort of magic character. Almost like the guy we were just talking to. Or I guess that wasn't us. That was just our captain who's probably going to die soon. But yeah, this game sort of made that mistake where, again, it just feels too similar to maybe other games in the genre. When it didn't have to do that. That really was my expectation, like, because it's Amazon and they're such a big company and they have all this, oh, that one was almost good. They have all this money and resources, they would have almost made it like, let's make it as close to real life as possible in a way that only we could do. And again, I'll compare it to like Microsoft Flight Simulator. Why does that work? Because it plays it kind of real, even though I've never really played it before, just like I know the popularity and fandom behind it. It's like, you really could have made it like something else. New world, like take the real Earth and make it a one-to-one replica, right? Like MMOs are really just that big anyway. Make it like you start off and you're a Neanderthal in Africa and you start your journey. So the first expansion is the classic version is Africa, and then the next expansion introduces like Asia and Europe or something, and then different time periods. You start off as a caveman and then you work your way and do it to whatever, you become you end up in the Middle Ages, and then later expansion you're in the, so it works its way up to modern times, and you keep dealing with technology and resources and enemy types based on that in a real world setting. So that would have been pretty cool. Not really seeing any of these that I like. Fucking blue hair. Come on, just give me like an old, okay, that guy wasn't too bad. This much time you could have just made your own manual one. Come on, come on. Okay, fuck it. We'll just go with this guy. What is one of my good RP names? What was one that I was using recently? Even I can't remember. Or, you know, you sometimes get in trouble for doing that because, like, oh, you're putting in the word arse, like it's even though that's not, his name is in use. It could have been my other character from the beta, but I don't know. I used to be so good at these RP sort of names. We'll do, come on, nobody should have taken these. Like, this is my fucking RP name. What the fuck, bro? Let's do the one that, actually, speaking of Path of Exile, that one of the characters was actually named that. Like, who is taking these names, bro? I had that in Albion Online. Like, all of my RP names were taken. Like, how is that even possible? People are just randomly doing names as bots and shit. They're not really coming up with these themselves. What about... I don't know. I have so many from the past, but I can never remember them. Or I maybe get tired of using them. I've been using that one a lot, the Terraliction, for my female characters. Like, if it lets you put a first and a last name, it's almost like a Sith name. Like with one of the Star Wars MMOs, maybe I used it and then I kept using it on other things. Like, Terra is your first name, and then Liction is like your, or whatever, it's like your Darth title. So it sounds like Dereliction. Almost like how, you know, a lot of people didn't even think about it like that. Like, oh, Darth Vader, like he's in Vader, but they don't really, I don't know, it just sounded like a name on its own. And then Obi-Wan calls him like Darth as if that's his name, and some sort of weird retcon contradiction. Like in the original movie, he's like, what do you call it? Only a master of evil, Darth, but Darth is just his title. But yeah, I always use Terra as a female's name, T-E-R-A. Like, there's an MMO actually called that too, but that's not really why. We'll use that fucking guy from Anthem. Yarrow, the old clown. Man, who is taking these fucking names, bro? That is, it doesn't even make sense. I don't really care, dude. That's taken too, I bet. This name cannot be used. It doesn't mean that somebody's taken it. It just means for some reason they don't like it. It's impossible, bro. What the fuck? This is like... Okay. Oh my god, I don't even care, dude. Just let me get in. Yeah. Just take a name and just add like a random... You cannot change your character's appearance or identity after this. That's a controversial statement. What, you can't change your identity? Unlike in modern society? I don't think I remember this exactly, but I think I remember you start on the beach and you fight a couple... Whatever, like... Some weird ghostly type enemies or zombies or something, and then you work your way in, and then... That constitutes like the tutorial area. So it's like a very narrow path I think we're on right now. How you start. Yeah, like it doesn't even maybe slow step you into that. Like you can already, and you know, as a big fan of mages, you could say, you know, how come I would hate that the game has magic? But that's not really the point. It was just more like the supernatural element that I was either not expecting or not really wanting from it. I wonder actually even if there is an MMO quite like that. Like even Ark is kind of like in a way that makes it feel a little bit more, yeah, sure, it involves dinosaurs and other technology and stuff, but in fact, it almost didn't even feel that much like a survival game either. Like, there are some elements like that, but I don't remember delving into them too much. Yeah, I think this is pretty much the same, actually. Gonna introduce this like a fucking QTE. Yeah, what you need is like a Dark Souls style combat system for one of these games. Which maybe is kind of like that, but we'd have to see like if the weapons are really distinct that way. Where...
You! Come closer. Your captain needs you. One of those blasted things jabbed me. In a bad way. A demon storm. voice in my head. These foul creatures. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Like, not only does every weapon type have its own animation, but even every single weapon individually has its own animations, like in Dark Souls. That would be impressive, especially for an MMO that would have, you know, so many countless thousands of weapons to choose from.
I think so. I could have sworn I saw one of the swabbies, but it was one of those creatures. Damned priest. I never should have trusted that bastard. All his talk of legends and power, treasures, nothing but lies.
Remember the part where he told you, I'll pray for your crew, though? And you're... Oh, wait, he kept going even after the text was over. But no, he even said, I'll pray for your crew, and it's a fool's errand. And he's even saying, I don't know how I survived. So he wasn't, like, saying it's not going to be dangerous.
I don't know. I lost it when the ship went down. But this voice, she says I need to get it back. You! I order you. Search the beach. If we don't recover the box. No.
Retrieve the items, or yeah, you like absorb experience from stuff when they die, I guess, kind of. I feel like that's the animation that happens. Shield slot, craftable at forge, okay. I feel like most of this UI looks pretty much the same. I wonder how popular this game has actually been, though. Based on the servers, it almost didn't look like it. So 3 is to heal. Clearly not going to spam or abuse this mechanic whatsoever. Jumping allows you to move over objects.
Shore, exhausted and weak, and I welcome you home.
Oh, hey, thanks for the raid. Wow. Thanks for the follow. Good luck. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Probably won't do like a super long committed session to it anyway, but it's like this is the same thing I did the last time where I just do the first tutorial area or something. So I don't feel like it lets you choose a class actually. I think it's just more like whatever, it'll let you choose your playstyle like in Elder Scrolls or something after a certain period of time. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly the same, I'm pretty sure. Examine the mysterious box. Only rule, no advice is fine. Oh, yeah. Streamers rule, yeah. It used to trigger me on my old channel that people would always do that because I'm usually so slow-paced with how I do things.
The source. It was my destiny to
Heavy attack, block. Let's see how blocking works. You have 85. That's like your stamina or something, I assume. Which heavy attack, or maybe it's not. Huh. Or maybe it just doesn't take it up for a heavy attack. We can actually test it like here. That's weird. Block breaking. Disrupt enemy blocks with heavy attacks. Holding long increases the attack damage. Or like, I don't know to what extent timing it actually matters. If I block it exactly the right second. Sword and Shield Mastery 2. Okay, purchase upgrades. Have to dash. Oh, thanks. No complaints or judgment, but you seem pretty talky. But yeah, I used to be quiet back in the day. Quickly, and it was more so like my voice too. Like I would have, like I'd use a Blue Yeti mic, and it almost like ASMR. People would make fun, but I'm not really like that anymore. Quickly spin around while extending the sword. I just want stuff to do with magic, even though I was complaining about that's how the premise shouldn't be to do with that. Run forward, staggering, pushing back foes. It deals 100% weapon damage. Yeah, that's always fun. You get Q. Yeah, see, this is the whole limited hotkey thing, though, that sometimes people complain about. Like, why do you only have 3 buttons there? You should have, like, 1 through 12 and then F1 through F12. Maybe they introduce that later, but it's like... This does make it feel somehow limited a little bit. Like, what, is this game made for console or something? J is a sword master. Nothing like that exists in New World. Descend into the grotto.
You had the choice. You forced my hand. Your soul is now mine.
Respawn point, but we're not allowed to use those. Now, is this the same guy we just talked to, or is it? It must be somebody who just happens to have the same armor. No, it's obviously the same guy. Okay, shield charge there. Corrupted Captain Thorpe. So many MMOs are so good to play, you know, in like a solo way. It's just how I often like to do it, at least the first time, like just going from 1 to max level without dying or whatever. Which, of course, some people would question that and say, kind of greeding too much. We gotta play it like Dark Souls, 1 hit only at a time. You know, like, oh, you'll miss out on a lot of good things because it's the group experience.
Within me, everlasting glory will be ours.
Okay. Yeah, the combat is pretty good for this purpose. I want to see how magic works again, because I think that's what I used most of the time last time. Is my health must just be coming back on its own, which is kind of cheese. Hollow Tempest. Maybe there's something he's doing to heal and I'm not even paying attention. I got him to like half before, or maybe that was just meant to happen. It's not Elden Ring. Yeah, I've never played that actually, but must be the easiest and most friendly solo content. What other MMOs are solo friendly good MMOs? Or at least I play them like that, because there's just so much content to go through, so you can just kind of take your time and whatever, like really slow pace it. Yeah, from 1 to max level on like every single class, and I would always do that with WoW, just like really go slow. Quicker parents out, or like read all the quest text, and that would trigger people, like nobody does that. Imagine you get all the power from being corrupted, and you get beat by some dude who wants to shore and just picked up a sword and shield. No, I always do first playthrough permadeaths with everything, but I wouldn't really do like group content either, because oh, I don't want to get carried and that invalidates the run, or I don't want to have somebody, you know, wipe us and it's their fault then that I died. Usually I tend to avoid that kind of thing. Upgrade available. Okay, strength. We kind of want to just go with int then, I guess. Let's see. Int or focus. This will have to do with life staff, ice gauntlet. I guess we'll do it basically the same way as before, where I would just go 1 stat only into magic.
Steady there, friend. Dying can be a rather harrowing experience the first time one goes through it. You're actually looking quite healthy, all things considered. Luckier than most.
You're gonna like the game? I guess WoW in its earlier states was more like that. Yeah, maybe not anymore. Do you mean the first time you die, you delete the character? Yeah, exactly. I do that with a lot of MMOs, actually. Wait, am I dead?
Not anymore, but you were very much dead for a few minutes there. You've been resurrected, you see. It's quite a lot to take in, I know. You'll find many strange things on Eternum, and this not dying business is one of them. Yes, the pole of the corruption. It's that damn storm. I can't even count the number of ships it's wrecked. And every sailor coming ashore is corrupted. You're one of the few who came through with your soul intact.
Like, yeah, I throw... The game doesn't have to introduce some sort of mechanic like, oh, you have this magical way to respawn and cheat death, like a spirit healer or something. You don't need that with me, because I do the work for them.
Ah, but I forget my manners. Watcher Layson Reese, at your service. I watch these shores for shipwrecks and help those like yourself. You're undoubtedly quite shaken by all of this. And probably famished, too. Resurrection is taxing on the soul and the body.
Yeah, that resurrection doesn't count, though.
Unfortunately, we don't keep the watchtower very well stocked. Bring your own mead is the rule. But there are some nice fat boar roaming around nearby. Of course, you're not exactly equipped for hunting, are you?
Brimstone was amazing. Yeah, I don't know how many expansions or anything they've been either since I played.
You'll need a skinning knife to start. Unless you prefer your roasted boar with the skin on. If you'll gather some flint and wood on your way to join me at the watchtower, you can fashion a crude knife at the campfire.
Okay. Yeah, crafting and survival elements, which was supposed to be the core mechanic of the game, but in before it just became probably combat focused because whatever, that's what everything gravitates towards to eventually. Supply cache. Like, do I have to eat or I die from hunger? Is like starving a mechanic? I don't really know if they went in that direction at all. Technically, Brimstone was a season. Okay. Let's see what people are saying in chat. Guarded sprint. Reduce damage taken by 10% while sprinting. Does that mean while moving? It's a hammer trait. You can get spoiled on stuff. In chat, people always be saying whatever, what the optimal thing to do is. I have enough advice in my own Twitch chat over the years. I don't need it from the fucking game. I just wander around and just do whatever. Because I don't really care right now. Like, let's try to go find a staff, which you probably shouldn't do this yet. But it does feel like this whole auto-regenerating health is a little bit too cheese. Let's just see how far we can go without getting in some trouble here. Brimstone was your personal best update they've ever done. Mithril Ring of the Sage. Yeah, like, we shouldn't even be allowed to do anything until we actually, like, any of the quests, until I get my proper playstyle that I want, which is something to do with magic at least. This will be a more auto-attack heavy type of game. Oh, that could be like a crime. Now the guards are going to come after me. That wasn't something I was actually supposed to kill. Turkey. I remember getting to like the first town and like there was an auction house and all that. So I don't know if this is the same one or if I got any further than that. Gather wood from a bush. Now, is the game going to somehow punish me for not doing these tutorial mechanics, or probably I can just do whatever I want. Level 35. I just don't remember hearing too much about this game after it came out, honestly. There's a lot of hype around it at the beginning. Everything will become clear when you open your eyes. Got some RP going on in the chat here. Now I'm going to push my luck and go too far. Like, obviously you shouldn't do this. Corinth, not checked in. You are leaving without checking in at the end. But so what? What's he going to do? Fuck, I don't care. Or does that mean that you'd respawn at the end if you died? Well, that guy's way too high level anyway. What is this? Oh yeah, I don't know how PvP works either, so like that would count too. So normally, if I would do this, I would play on like a PvE server or something, obviously too. Yeah, there have been some instances where, yeah, if I die to a player or somebody griefing you in some creative way, that does count too. Or even like if I DC, that happened in like Diablo Immortal or something stupid, where either I went AFK or I DC'd and then I died because of that. Level 6 is a pretty bad idea, actually. But it doesn't look that intimidating. I really don't like the regenerating health. I mean, I'm sure after a while it maybe doesn't matter that much, but the way that you can just cheese with that is too much. Fast travel purposes, you can check in at the end. Okay. I want to see, where was that place where all those portals were there and the crazy demon dogs or whatever? Kind of thing that triggered me because I didn't want the game to have all that shit in it, but I wanted a real life simulator. The levels don't really seem too punishing at the beginning here, where some games you fight something 3 levels above you and you're gonna get destroyed. Let's see what this is. But yeah, like you can just play it like an open world game and just do whatever you want. But usually you should at least let the tutorial go through so you can, whatever, it'll introduce some base abilities or gear or something that you should have. Windsward. Standing level increased. Tales of Windsward. Bread as bait. Now I believe there's a lot of differences between man and fish. So whatever Grandmaster fish Makara says about us being similar might just be a special brand of crazy, but he's right about one thing. People and fish alike love bread. I've always noticed that better fish come inspecting my bobber when there's bread attached. You don't have to be one with the sea to see that. But where the fuck do fish find bread in the water then? Or maybe that's why they like it, because it's a novelty. That's more like for the birds.
Hello,
Michael
Mr.
Shields.
Fisher Shields.
Hello, I'm Lokins. Can you... Oh yeah, I forgot my own fucking name.
Ahoy there.
Or
When you
Lokina.
begin the adventure and the glory, you'll need to learn how to fill your belly with the bounty of the sea. First, you'll need some bait.
Is normal. You were low level. The game is trying to teach and facilitate. Yeah, after a while you'll pray for it. Or that's a build you could make. Like, get whatever, like, spirit equivalent stat that would increase your base regeneration. That'll be my primary stat.
Some of the most readily available bait are wood lice, creepy crawly creatures that live in bushes. The rest you can get through various other means.
Or I love when games do that. They'll have subtitles, but what he says is something different. So he didn't say reside, he said live in bushes. 0 out of 10. They didn't proofread this game. Or yeah, arguably Amazon gave some preferential treatment to this on Twitch because it's their own game. So like maybe they would put it on the front page. It does create at the beginning, like it did create some sort of incentive there. Or they'll give you like some sort of boost and like I forget what they do, like some, what was it called? There's some mechanic like, okay, I shouldn't push my luck this much. Or let's test the aggro range. Maybe it's an infinite aggro range, not unlike in Lord of the Rings or something. Like, this is a terrible idea. Especially when you don't know how dangerous this could potentially be, but I guess it's still okay. And you can just face roll, like, you don't even have to worry about the regenerating health yet, but it's just nice to have. But it's not even that attacking should take up your stamina, but power attacking probably should. It's kind of weird that it doesn't. Yeah, like we'll never even bother doing any of the quests this time, maybe. We can always do it later. Or I can always make another character, not even because I die. There was some other part on the beach, though, that I remember. Not like that where we first started, but I remember maybe that's something that they got rid of in the tutorial, or maybe you get there later. You're fighting like some other similar things on the beach, and there's like some ships, whatever, all broken down and stuff. I thought that was like the first area that you start on, and then you walk towards, and there's like this camp where there's like an NPC that's telling you everything what to do, and that's where like a bulk of players were all congregating. So I don't know if that's different, or maybe that just comes later, and I guess we won't find out, because I guess I did maybe play it more like that before, where like I was doing more what you were supposed to do. I'll just kind of push my luck in the environment a little bit here. We can fight up to like level 8 without anything to worry about, possibly even more. And we can just face tank the shit out of it, but if we wanted to play it Dark Souls style, we can, you know, get one hit, roll. Although sometimes in these games that doesn't even help you, because you can just... There's like a sense that they'll hit you no matter what. You're just sort of in their hitbox, so that you can't abuse it too much that way. Yeah, and even this is always a dumb thing to do for leveling purposes, because you should always feel like, you know, oh, you're going to sword and shield, bow. Yeah, we should actually start with this, even though I don't have a fire staff. No points available. Or is it because you have to use it to earn the points with the respective thing, I guess? Okay, I guess that makes sense. So it is very Elder Scrolls-esque, I guess, in that way. When you block an attack, you gain 20% fortified for 5 seconds. Wait, is it new light? They close something like that. They shorten the new player's start. They close out new light. Oh, okay, maybe that's what it was, yeah. First light. I'm surprised I even remember that. This deals 50% of weapon damage, staggering and stunning for 2 seconds. Seems good. R. Yeah, what? Are we only going to have 3 core abilities that we can use at a time, and then you have to switch out? I may as well play this game with a controller. Yeah, that's the whole mockery that some games make, is like, imagine playing WoW or something with a controller, like with a million hotkeys that you have everywhere and F1 through F12 and all this crazy stuff.
Did you see my court? Huh? The wilds of Eternum have never been safe, but the roads? Never seen anything like this before today. Vicious bulls came out of nowhere, ate all me truffles.
What, I don't get a quest to help you with that?
Did you see my court? Huh? The wilds of
The fuck?
Eternum.
Those are the kind of quests I'd be at least willing to do. Like, oh, if it's just something I find out on the road or something. Yeah, I guess if I had done whatever these tutorial quests are, maybe then they'd still be different than the ones I did before. Okay, now we're getting tag teamed here. I don't know if that was because I attacked the one or if they actually aggro on sight here. Let me actually see how that works. Like if some things are passive, some things are aggressive. If I just like walk up to him, what happens? Doesn't seem to care, so it must have just been because I initiated the combat. The main thing I want to do is just find like a fire staff somewhere laying around, which I'm sure they would have given me the option to get one if I had done what they wanted with the starter class. Or yeah, the same dude that complains like, oh, this should have been more a committed survival game just to distinguish itself from other MMOs, is also the guy who will roam around and do fucking only combat the whole time. Like how I play EVE Online for the first time and then I'm like, I wonder what the economy system in this game is like. And then the whole time I just spend space laser, go pew pew, and just fucking fight stuff in space. Just because it's easier. Oh yeah, here, this is what I was talking about, like with, there'll be all these portals and shit. Old Tidal Cave. Or no, this isn't still that area though. Corrupted Sailor. Maybe I'm not looting stuff that I could be, but I feel like it's doing it automatically most of the time. So this could be like a little mini single player type dungeon, or Corrupted Quartermaster. Come on, just drop a fucking staff. Or now they're gonna actually start using shields. Wait, why isn't it working now? Wait, I'm hitting right click. Huh, why couldn't I use it during that whole encounter? Old Tidal Cave. See how the verticality works there? That worked pretty well. Having the high ground does not help you much in this game, apparently. Be interesting to see how PvP and stuff like that works too later on. Although again, that's the sort of thing you should avoid doing if your life is on the line. I mean, what you could always do with that format is just like you get from 1 to max level with one character, just like I do with single player games and stuff like that, and then you can always make another one for stuff like that. Just because everything is so fresh, it's not like you're really missing out that, oh, you know, I didn't do group content or I didn't do PvP. And most of that is most fun at the max level anyway, which I don't even know what the max level is actually. Once you unlock something with transmog though, you can reapply for the same stuff. That is weird. Some of these encounters, oh, it's because maybe your stamina has to be at full to initiate the shield block. Or no, at least it can't be maxed out. Wait, let me test it actually. So if I use up some stamina like this, it just has to not be like recovering from 0 to 100, regardless of what it's at, I guess. Had no stamina. Your advice is to turn off the camera shake. Okay. Let's see. Where is even the base settings here? Camera, video, windowed mode, monitor resolution. Yeah, clearly my computer should be able to handle a game like this. Let's see. Although maybe at the time it was a little bit trickier. I don't know how much they've improved the graphics and stuff. Terrain, it seems almost the same actually. Where would that be? Camera, invert mouse, camera shake. Okay. Camera sensitivity seems fine. Although you're always, the better player you are, the better your aim is, the higher your sensitivity should be. So clearly it's perfect for me. Musket. Oh, fuck. Maybe I can. I mean, I guess I don't have to commit, like, oh, I'm going to be only one playstyle. You can kind of just mix them all together. I haven't even used this ability yet. No ability run. Kind of lulls you into a false sense that you can just face roll everything, but then at some point it's going to be a rude awakening for you. I guess I could try to use something different like that. Let's see. Or can I not even use that slot? No, I can use it in my base thing. The problem with this is whatever abilities I have are going to go out the window. So it sort of changes your whole loadout, I guess, based on what you're using, which is interesting. But we'll take a chance with it, I guess. You're going to feel much smoother. Yeah, I guess I wasn't even really noticing it too much, but... Okay, level 5. Now, this could be suicide, because now I could be... You know, I was only face rolling that because my level was proportionate to my skill that I was using the whole time. Oh, you guys should get iron sights. Look at this, dude. What the fuck? Can we go first person too? Kind of scared to stand too close though, but we can kind of face tank everything as we've sort of shown up to this point. And maybe I'll just go for this style instead of being a mage this time, but you can seemingly mix them together. Like at this stage, it doesn't feel like it would matter a whole lot. Come on, I'm headshotting the fucking guy. Obviously, that's not going to make him take any more, I wouldn't think. What the hell is going on? This guy is like a little mini-boss type encounter. This is a pretty fun playstyle too, though, potentially. Of course, you're going to have just infinite ammo, I guess. That should almost be a mechanic that you do have to worry about. One of the many things, like with old school WoW, that was such a good thing. I'm going to talk about WoW like a million times like I do when I play every other MMO, but actually having to manage little things that were specific to your class. Like hunters actually have to worry about ammo, and mages have to worry about runes, and, you know, warlocks have to worry about whatever, soul shards and stuff. It gives you a little class identity and makes you feel like there's some sort of sim management element there. The whole thing with this is it's going to be hard to be at a distance. I need like some sort of dash back ability to really feel like I'm a hunter type character, because otherwise I am just face rolling in close range too much. Although maybe that would help make up for your aim being bad. Yeah, this could be a cool mechanic. Like if there's a lot of these single player type dungeon whatever things that they're giving you to do. Or maybe they're not meant to be done like this, but it'll just scale down like if you're not in a group, or it would scale up to however many people you have and whatever your level is and stuff. Yeah, like this mechanic alone could make it be like, oh, this is a third person shooter. Or if you could go first person with the camera, this is a first person shooter, and it's a, you know, fantasy MMO, and it's a whatever crafting survival game. It's every genre in one, just because it has whatever. You could say that about any game that has a mechanic like that, where it's not like you're just auto attacking with a ranged weapon without any input. Feel that this game has high settings versus low settings, barely noticed apart from the terrain and shadows. Do I get like a sneak bonus here? I wonder if sneaking is actually a mechanic. It did seem to do a lot, but it would be kind of cool if there was like face damage or whatever, like limb damage based on where you hit them. Something that even GTA 5 didn't have. So many modern games that lack on basic mechanics. GTA 5 doesn't even have a fucking crouch button, let alone limb damage. Like where you hit them doesn't really matter. Okay, why the fuck was he so good with the shield there? And of course, it won't matter where you hit them. Even if you don't hit them in the shield, they'll still absorb it with their shield. That's how these games work. It's actually working pretty well. I thought somehow we'd be at a disadvantage if we use something different here. We'll just kind of work through every playstyle. Whenever we get a new weapon, I'll just switch to it. So the sword and shield thing is kind of basic. Maybe I gotta... You know, if I level up, I'll level up in this tree, I guess? Or will it be an overall level up that I have to commit to the range? So then I'm kind of splitting it between two trees. So I've already maybe built it suboptimally. Like, I don't know if it comes at the expense of one another if you're committing to certain abilities. Or like maybe it'll be where it doesn't let you switch in the middle of combat. So if you commit to, you know, I go in with a musket, I can't change and use my sword and board ability, sort of like stance dancing. There's a head. Oh, there is a headshot bonus. Nice. Then you see massive differences, 2K or 4K. Also, other advice for less friction is that since you only can use 2 weapons, there's an option to keybinds to only use one button to change the weapon. Yeah, like, I should actually try that in the middle of combat to see if it lets you do that. And the main reason why you would do it is for the abilities that you can use along with it. Wonder how accurate or punishing the hitboxes actually are. Like, how accurate do you really have to be? Doesn't seem like too accurate because I've been doing pretty well. But then again, I guess we're always so close to them. I don't know how swimming works. That could always be a failure state. The John Marston effect. You just go in the water for like a second and just die. I'm basically just gonna explore maybe the whole time. This wasn't meant to be like a super long or exhaustive session. The satisfaction. But I always want to make like longer series out of these, and then I always just don't because there's too many games like that I leave hanging. I'll just do like a first session and then I'll come back to it a couple years later and do another first session and then do the same thing again. And then that always gives me an insecurity if a game like goes offline, like getting delisted or something stupid. Like I was just playing Paragon the Overprime just because it's about to go offline, so I'd never played that before, and it's like so annoying to keep track of games like that. Every week there'll be a new game that you have to play just because you'll never get to if you don't. And then you'll always hear about, oh, haha, this game was so good and you never got to play it. You sure missed out on that one. It's such an irritating thing about modern gaming, which again, you could say that goes without saying with any online, always online type of game. But even single player games have that issue. Like Spec Ops was just delisted because of some sort of whatever, music copyright type of dumb issue. Okay, we can do this. So every weapon is going to have its own skill tree, which is cool. Or every weapon type, I suppose. Power shot or trap. That seems kind of fun, but not something you would use probably on a... You wouldn't really have to worry about on a regular basis here. Overload your musket with gunpowder, causing your next shot to deal 160% weapon damage. Bold shot, increase musket damage. These are going to be more like passive effects. Then we have another one too, powder burn. Or wait, I didn't mean to do that. Let's look at the other ones. On a successful headshot gain in power, I'm not going to rely on my aim here. Quick load if more than 2 targets are hit. So I assume you just have infinite ammo with all guns at all times, and it's just a matter of how many they have in the clip and how often you have to reload and things like that, or how slow the reload is. That'll be the meaningful mechanics. Overload musket with gunpowder, causing next shot to be 110%. Okay. The Q is going to be the power shot. Okay. Yeah, this is almost a little too easy to start, and you might say, oh, you know, that's the point, but some MMOs do start off insanely hard. Like, even EverQuest was like that. At least classic EverQuest, where, like, you're fighting, like, a level 2 at level 1, and it's actually not that much of a short thing. You actually have to be careful. If you aggro 2 things, you can just die. More like an old-school MMO trope. My advice for you is first levels is musket and then rapier. There are different tiers of ammo. Some give higher damage modifier. Come on, we got to get a staff, though. That's the real playstyle that I want to go for. Flint, there's your crafting survival element that I'm probably just going to ignore, honestly, the whole time. River chest, river crafts. Or it's like you don't feel like you really need to worry about it yet. Like I could probably build my own house out in the wild anywhere I want. Dynamic player housing, that would be kind of a fun mechanic. Breakwater bulwark. Landmark charted. I can't believe how popular that Pal World just exploded as soon as it came out. And then even to the... Oh, okay, we maybe don't want to fuck with this guy. But I guess I can test my luck. We'll beat his skull. Hard mode challenge here. I'm just worried he's going to, like, one-shot me. I could theoretically kite him. As a historic mage player in so many RPGs, I am a kiting god. Like, just don't even let him hit you, and then you don't even have to worry about it. It's still not... It still doesn't even scare me. Fuck it, dude. I'll still do it. I just have to make sure I don't go out of his aggro range. Man, I am cheesing this hard. It feels like, why should you be able to take out a skull? Which means it's either like 10 levels above you or something that you probably shouldn't be fighting, or it could be like some indication of like a mini boss type enemy. It just seems like he's a higher level. So you can get away with this here in many games where you couldn't, because it would just be like a mitigation type of scenario where like he would just mitigate every hit that you do because he's a higher level, so you just can't deal with it. Whereas here it's at least oh shit, okay, we're getting out of here. Fuck off, dude. You can't call for help. He's almost dead though, but this is exactly how you die. For fuck's sake, why did you have to call a buddy in there? I mean, you can still do it theoretically the same way. I gotta stop rolling like twice in a row. Oh no, he went back. Because, you know, there's no need to do that. I'm just kind of doing it habitually. Because I'm spamming the fucking key. That wasn't really too bad though. Okay, that did hit a lot though. Come on, reload your shit faster. Okay, not too bad. I mean, I shouldn't be doing this, but just because that guy pissed me off, I want to go after the other one now too. Musket Rapier's highest skill ceiling in the game. Well, maybe I should avoid it then. I don't want to make it harder for myself. There are different tier... Oh, we read that. Yeah, I mainly would just want to use a staff though, probably. But it does seem very fun to mix the playstyles together. It doesn't seem to really penalize you too much. In typical, you know, Elder Scrolls fashion, you can just kind of, based on how much you use something, you level up more with that exact thing, so you don't feel like you're really missing out. Guy almost seems a little bit easier to kill than the other one. Maybe my aim's just getting better. Or yeah, I should be doing headshots if that is a thing, but... my old philosophy, I'd rather hit you anywhere and disable you rather than try to, you know, shoot somebody in the leg and that'll throw them off, and then you can always finish them off later, rather than try to go for a headshot and then if you miss, you're screwed. But obviously, that's more like a real life consideration, not where he can just fucking face tank everything and not flinch. We do have healing items too if I need it, but the best healing is literally just standing here and taking it. I can't tell if that's the headshot damage, the 46 versus the 37, or... oh shit. Yeah, I mean, this would not be very likely to do if you were a melee character. Oh shit, come on, man. Or they don't even really aggro, though. Nobody seems to care. Like, these type of higher level enemies should at least be... okay, dude, I'm pushing my luck too much. Let's get out of here. So I clearly went too far. Probably rapiers, you can do like some sort of parry mechanic. That could be why it's a skill cap. Anything that you have to aim has at least some skill amount to it, but when you're doing it like this, it is sort of such close range combat that that's not a big factor. What was that other MMO that I played the one time that it was like some weird, I can't remember. It was like one that was advertising itself as like like an old school style one, and then if you anybody who complained about it, they would just shit on you like, oh well, you just don't like it because you're not hardcore like the old school things, but it wasn't even that good. I can't remember. It's another one that like I just played one time and then I never went back to it. It doesn't even mean that I necessarily don't like something, it's just like I don't have time necessarily to do all of these games. And MMOs are the ultimate time sink sort of experience, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, but like I could just walk around and do this the whole time and it'd be fun. Come on, somebody's got to drop a staff at some point. Or maybe I'm only going to get notable loot like that from a boss type enemy, like how we went in that little cave. So therefore, if we do another one, it might have a chance to drop a staff. But you would think even random stuff like this might have a small chance to do it. Soaked Spear. Or I mean, I guess that's still a different, oh, I keep doing that. Different class of weapon than what we were using before. So we'll just let this sort of dictate what we're doing. But even though we don't have abilities here, just gonna follow the Fire Emblem weapon triangle. Like a spear loses to a sword, beats a sword, sword beats an axe, axe beats a spear, something like that, where you have some base advantage. Or you should almost be able to throw it if you really want. Or there'll probably be an ability like that. A lot of thrown abilities in games like this, though, are going to be like an auto boomerang, though. You'll always get it back just because you have to have it. You won't have to like go and actually pick it up yourself. Okay, so just don't give me skull enemies all the time. I think that area was an exception. Even though I have gone super far out from where you've been. There is a certain temptation in games like this to sort of test it and see how far you can really go and what all you can get away with doing. I just feel like there's never a need to make these kind of things so easy at the beginning, though, because it's like, I'm not saying you should be like near death every fight, but like there's not even a remote chance of that feeling dangerous. Like, let's see, Zoner, Impaler, rush forward and skewer your target. I'm always a fan of the mobility type of ones. Throw your spear, even though I was just saying that too. I can just get all of them because I don't know if there's going to be a limit to the skills you get in one particular. I guess there would have to be, because then it's giving you a respec option. Let's see, does it have destructible crates? It does not. La Roussette. Gather bushes to collect woodlouse bait. That was like the side quest we got, the fishing one. Yeah, this is pretty fun in terms of the core mechanics. I just think somehow the subject matter and everything left me a little bit cold, just with my own expectation or impression that I wanted it to be something other than what it was, which, to be fair, their marketing really did play into that a lot. Then I also did the same format with the, oh, there we go, Fire Staff. But we didn't get to use the spear for long enough, so actually I'll hold off for a little bit. With Elder Scrolls Online, like I just played it once just to try it. And I love how whenever you miss the opportunity, people will be such trolls with it too. It's like, oh, well, if you really wanted to play it, you could, why didn't you just play it? I mean, haha, it's been out for so long. But like, there's way too many games to keep track of like that. That you maybe only notice or only think about it once it's about to go offline. That's the whole irony. The most popular time for a game might be like where it has the most amount of players concurrently or something, might be right when they announce, oh, we're gonna shut down our server. So then everyone rushes in to play it. Either people who previously were fans of it or who've never gotten the chance to play it. Not that anything like that's happening with this game, but let's actually get both just so we have. So this is going to be a skill shot, which it didn't actually do that much at all, though. Oh, that was actually pretty badass, though. 100 to 0 without even potentially getting hit. Let's try the power attack. Level 5, so now I'm still going to go for intelligence because that's ultimately what we want with the staff, but it doesn't feel like anything I'm doing really matters anyway. You can just kind of breeze through it for now. Fuck. It does seem pretty forgiving though with the hitboxes, to be honest with you. Let's see how far we can level up and we get to the point where stuff actually starts to become a little bit challenging. But then again, I already fought the skull thing. Camping available. Is that like because it unlocked the mechanic, or is it maybe something about this particular area? Cannot camp in landmarks. Let's see what this mechanic is like even. Build, okay. We don't have any of that, do we? Green wood. Yeah, why would you even want to put it in an enemy-infested area like this anyway? I haven't even looked at the map, really. Let's see how big this game really is. Assuming this is the whole game, which it very well might not be with expansions and so forth. Elysian Wilds, 60 to... Or this will kind of spoil the level zones here. Upcoming invasion. That's maybe what I was talking about with all the portals, where it would just randomly spawn stuff. let's see. This is 1 to 17. Oh, well, look at that, though. You'll accidentally wander into a fucking 58 level zone. 1 to 17, 1 to 17, 1 to 25. What is the one after that, then? This is like probably 25 to 35, but I can't read it because that thing's on there. 30 to 40, 40 to 41, 45. So max level could be around 60, 65, 70, something like that. Or, I mean, originally it could have been probably 60. But yeah, that can sometimes trigger people. Like I'll skip stuff like tutorial or whatever, but then it's like if I don't die anyway, like Path of Exile, that pissed so many people off. Like I'm not reading anything, but I did fine. Like it's not like I died or struggled in that session. Obviously later on I would worry about that kind of stuff, but when you can just get away with doing whatever you want, then why would you worry about it? Let's see, I think now we ought to... Like, would it actually just let us cross over into there? Or maybe you're meant to go from another angle. You can now wear 2 weapons at once. Oh. Oh, yeah, that did say at level 5. Let's see. So now... Yeah, let's say you put the staff as the opposite. And then they were saying some hotkey would switch between them, but I don't know. Or no, you can just do it like this anyway. Okay, fine. Let's switch to the staff now anyway, which is what I wanted. Yeah, they did get rid of that one little starting area that they were talking about. I forgot the name of it now, but light something. So that must have been with the other ships that I was thinking about. Could be another cave, maybe. But here, this is like a little more face roll, I think, where you can just hold it down and it spams it, or maybe not. This one, it feels like a shame not always to hold it down all the way. Let's see what our range is really like. That is pretty good. The most overpowered weapon in an MMO would be like a fucking sniper rifle where you can just hit stuff across the map. So many things are reliant on, you know, random arbitrary range restrictions to make it fair. Okay, let's see what abilities do we get with this. I'm pretty sure this is what I used before, but... So there's going to be like multiple trees just for different kinds of staffs. Like, I keep confusing the hotkeys. Like, what about the Life Staff, Ice Gauntlet, Void Gauntlet, Blunderbuss, Bow, Warhammer, Greatsword, Great Axe, Spear, Sword, and Shield. So that means you can only use a shield with these 2 things. A dynamic weapon, Rise of the Angry Earth, which I assume is an expansion. So this is create a 4-meter jet of flame from the staff doing 50% weapon damage per second. Invoke a burst of flames with a 2.5 radius at the targets. Try that. Another skill shot. The more skill shots you have, the better your combat is, which is obviously hard to do with melee combat, but even then, if the hitboxes are like more tactile and sort of, you have to be very precise, and there's a lot of like weapon clanging and blocking and chivalry style shit. Even the mobility of the dodge is, you know, not to be understated, even if people probably somehow cheese with it in PvP or something. That's what often ruins so many games' design philosophies, is like, you know, oh, something's busted and people exploit it, especially in a PvP context, so therefore, oh, now we have to ruin it for every other. You know, this illusion of balance is never met fully. Nothing's ever going to be perfectly balanced, so you don't care as much in a single-player context, you're just kind of having fun, and oftentimes people self-enforce stuff. Like, if they feel it's busted, they just won't use it because that makes it less fun. Fuck. Yeah, use exclusively AoEs because it circumvents the need to actually have good aim. You can actually block with the staff too. Let's see how effective this is. Oh, it seems to be fully effective. I wonder if blocking always works like that, where everything just does 100% of damage. Yeah, maybe to like level 10 or something, although that could take a while. Or did I just make a big circle? Go into here. Maybe this is another dungeon. We got the spear. We got this. We have the shield on our back, even though we can't use it with any of this stuff. Tales of Windsward. Manifest of Lay Korikon. 5 barrels of gunpowder, 6 cases of shot, 10 barrels of grain, 8 crates of salted meat, 10 muskets, 15 rapiers. Oh yeah, conversely, people would get upset like, oh, well, why do you read all the flavor text or all the quest text? It's like they put it in there for a reason. So some intern worked their butt off to write all this shit, so I sympathize and want to actually see it. And sometimes it can be pretty good. Although I don't really know anything about the lore of this game, really. Pillar of fire, meteor shower. Let's just go for more of the base abilities. See what that's like, or you'll probably have to channel it, so that's maybe not much use to me here. Old Tidal Cave. This isn't the same one that I just went to, was it? It actually kind of looks like it. Maybe I was scared of crossing into that other higher level zone, so I won't even bother doing it again. Let's go the other way. Not really going with any sort of rhyme or reason, but that's like the only actual cave that we've done. Like mini dungeon. Yeah, I'm just surprised there were so few servers, or at least that was the US East, but there are only like 5 servers and they're all like low population. That's kind of sad. And that's what always makes it hard in these games is like if you feel like you're or maybe this was the camp. It just looked different from that perspective where there were like a ton of players here and everything. Just doesn't look the same without them. But no, it's like for rating purposes and grouping purposes, it makes it almost unplayable then if you're looking for that kind of thing. If you play the game for a long period of time, because then you just can't find people, or the people that you find you just have to sort of settle for. I remember seeing Shroud play it a little bit. Not that I really watch anybody play stuff, but at least not that I've played, because then I don't want to spoil it, even in the most minor way. But I think he played it for a while. He always will surprise you, like, oh, you know, you think of him as a CSGO player, but then he loves WoW, and he's played so many MMOs over the years and stuff. Level 5. We kind of went the opposite of what we should have done. We went to the higher level area and then fought like a skull thing, and now we're going back and fighting level 2s once we've actually gotten to level 5. You have a close combat option, range combat option. Not that the spear can't be used for that purpose too. Or we could do like a fully ranged setup then. Or yeah, the one thing I did want to test is like, can I switch out from my thing here? Like if I want to put the gun there. You can't do it during combat, and I think that's a very deliberate decision. So it means that you can only ever use your 2 loadouts at a time, right? Or however many he gives you, if he gives you more later. So you can only switch between these 2 during combat and nothing else. So there'll be all kind of like hybrid specs that you can do. You can be like, I'll be sword and shield and staff, or whatever, musket and staff. So I'm all kind of range focused. I've almost just gone backwards, I feel like, here. What if I want to go in like all the other direction? Like if I go straight across. Let's go to like the other 1 to 17 zone over here. Yeah, it makes you wish you had more time almost to make series out of these things and do it the full way, because I never like to rush through things either. Like I could just, oh yeah, I'll just speed run it through for a week and get to max level and just try to do some raids and just get that experience out of it, but to whatever extent I would still want to take my time. Which arguably you could say I'm even skipping stuff and rushing now, but I guess I'm not really trying to do anything. We've seen pretty much every core playstyle, at least in terms of the fuck. I can't do that right. Like we've at least seen 1 in each row. In fact, exactly. So we would have to see if we find these other weapons later. Everyone's a fan of the rapier, it seems like. That we wouldn't be able to even use for a while now. These would be all like 2-handed weapons. The spear doesn't even really feel like it though. A blunderbuss, life staff. Do a solo healing playthrough where I can just rely on that. Cheese with healing even more than you already can, just with the base regeneration. So what are the other... Let me look at the stats here. Strength is going to do with all those. Dexterity is range. Focus is going to be healing, flail, and shield. Void, that's kind of weird though. So some of them are kind of splitting through. I would think that's only to do with healing. Constitution is health. So that's what they would mean, is that you should have like the rapier on 1 and the musket on 2, and that would be your optimal build. Not checked in, doesn't really matter. But yeah, I wonder if this game mirrors real life time, like day and night cycles. Sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes it's kind of annoying too. It's like if you work all day, then it'll always be night in game, and you'll never get to see what it's like in the day. You'll have to take a day off work just to see what that's like. So it could operate on its own sped up cycle, or like this. If it's like, I think even Genshin Impact was doing that, like where it's based on what time of day it is in real life for you. Or I guess you could always just play like on a different server, or try to mess around with your time zone to make it think that it's something else just to see a different period. Iron Rose Garrison, level 9, which again, I've learned not really to fear any of this shit. Or you don't really even have to channel it, but you just have to cast it all together. I think this is what I used almost just from the beginning, though. The last time I played, like, I only used the staff. At least this time I experimented with some of the other kinds. The musket was pretty fun, actually. I like the whole iron sights consideration, too, that they even bothered to put that in there. The channeling time on the other thing is almost a little bit too long, though, where... Yeah, let's try to do these 100 to 0, where we don't even take one little bit of damage. Hard to tell what their aggro ranges really are sometimes, though. Only a few things have really reset. Oh, that ability looks pretty cool. But then it causes him to, like, recoil or something, or he can't move afterwards. Or I wonder if you can, like, tame stuff and have it as a pet. If that's even a style of play. In a way, I kind of like sometimes playing these games when they're dying out, or if they have, like, a lesser player base, because then it feels like you have the whole world to yourself, so there's no risk of getting either griefed or having to compete with other people, so it makes it resemble a single player experience even more. What the fuck? How come this guy's doing so much? Well, I guess this is my weakness. When it's range on range, I'm taking for granted how little I'm taking from even higher level things, because I'm not... You know, I'm just kind of avoiding them with my jukes and rolls and stuff. But if they're going to be guaranteed to hit me with some ranged weapon, then I'm screwed. Looking for 2-man DPS tank for SD. The chat's at least reasonably active for... Or this must be like world chat, though. Yeah, global. Yeah, it's like you barely have time to play one MMO if you're doing it, oh shit, full time or a lot of the time, let alone to play multiple or play all of them. People always hard commit, and then they get all overly defensive about it too sometimes. Okay, this is just a bad idea. I can barely take one of these at a time. Like with WoW, there's always that fake elitist thing. Like everybody acts like, you know, they're so good at it or they're so superior or whatever, but it's like they're just an ordinary random person playing the game, and it's like just because they copy some meta strategy that's been established doesn't mean anything. Everybody gets too stuck up about it somehow. Which in general is what multiplayer stuff can do. You would never care so much in a single player context, like, oh haha, I beat Ocarina of Time faster than you, or I did something, like nobody would care. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. You're fighting wildlife anyway, so if you're going to do that, why not just make it a wildlife simulator with only real-world enemies? Now I'm almost wondering if there is a game really that does that. where it plays it fully real all the way through. The closest you're going to get is Ark if you just grant that dinosaurs existed at the same time as you. Yeah, something like that, where even if the technology starts to improve after a while, it could still be real world technology, like you get assault rifles and this and that. Just assume everything is hostile. Not even an enemy, though. Yeah, like where's the survival element where like I have to eat food or I get hungry or I have to drink water or I, you know, dehydrate. Like those little minor things could have been in there, I guess. Okay, these aren't even hostile to you. Yeah, it still had 1.4K viewers on Twitch, which I guess is decent, but can't really judge a game's popularity by by that alone. Or sometimes it creates the opposite feedback, like PvZ Heroes, we always see that. It seems like a dead category and almost like a dead game, but then to the extent that it's obviously going to be like where the people who do like it are super passionate about it still. Like the whole vocal minority effect. Oh shit, I guess they're only level 6. I can finish this guy off. Yeah, but so much of the looting is automatic, which is kind of nice, but just auto attack, auto loot, just make everything automatic, then why even play the game? But obviously I do like the whole skill shot element to these, even if a lot of the time it does feel sort of face roll, where you're always so close to them. It's better like on range versus range combat, then not only could they potentially juke you and stuff, but they could also, you know, they'll just be farther away, so you actually have to consider that a little more. This doesn't really constitute a mini dungeon like the other thing. I think they'll probably always use that red aura to indicate that that's what it's meant to be. Okay, fire staff thing. I think we maybe even missed the point. No, we didn't. That's like a jet. It doesn't seem like it would take that long to get to the bottom of this, though. Cast forth a fireball that deals 150% weapon damage. Or in fact, we've never gotten more than 3 abilities, so we would see like it's not only going to force you to commit to only 2 weapons and 2 playstyles, but it's going to force you to commit to only 3 abilities with each at a time. Which sure, it makes them impactful, but then you're kind of in a limited space where you're only using 3 things at a time, which does feel a little bit restrictive. Or I guess 6 things at a time collectively. This seems like a weird decision to restrict it that way. That could have been risky, but fall damage isn't too bad. We were just testing it. Or yeah, like that's what people would say. Like, even if you're gonna do this, you should do quests because the quest will tell you just go kill these wolves that you're killing anyway, so you'll just level up faster. But it doesn't really matter to me too much. Great Seeker. Need help for early pyro. Yeah, was this the town that had like the auction house and stuff in there? I feel like maybe it just looks different because there's less activity and less people around. This must be the same thing. Why would they have changed that? Or you know what I think I did really super thoroughly? I maybe went to every house and talked to everybody and looked at every little thing that way. Right, so this is like maybe player housing or... That was the first MMO I played with player housing in it, was Tibia. And the cool thing with that is not only was it player specific, but it wasn't even like instant. So like you could, like this house would be bought by somebody, but if they bought it, then they would own it. And so what that would mean is like everybody else would see it. So nobody else could buy that house and they had to pay like rent for it and stuff. It's a really cool mechanic, especially for that time. Yeah, this must be the same town though. Decent amount of player activity here. Yeah, I was even less motivated to do any quests or anything than normal. But I guess I feel like I've already done them. Clearly, I'm an expert on the beginning part of the game. Or by that logic, like, you would think, why even make a new character then? I should just continue from where I was. But I guess I couldn't, because that might have been a beta-specific character. So maybe they wouldn't let you carry that over. Fuck my aim, dude. Let's explore a little bit in this direction here. That's why you can even enjoy playing games like this in this raw experience, where if you just don't even do any quests, not that you should do this all the way through, but if you just explore and kind of do stuff more dynamically, which you can still end up doing quests that way, but I almost like to discover it on the fly. Like if some random dude's on the road, like the guy who was complaining about the boars, but then he didn't even give me a quest. Or there'll be like all these different things to discover. Level 7 out of range. Black Desert was one of those I only played like the one time. I think some of those I played like in between the period where I like had stopped streaming for a couple years. I think this might have been on that. I can't remember if I did it on stream or not. I guess it would just be easy to tell based on when it came out, because that would have been anywhere between 2019 and 2021, so it might have been right in there actually. So I would assume it's been out for like 4 years. I should have probably checked. Yeah, I remember sitting on the open beta screen, and then I couldn't get in for a while. And then I finally did kind of like the same thing that I'm doing here, except maybe I did a little more of the quests and stuff. So we did something very impressive by killing a skull level enemy, which is surprising that it was that easy to do. But again, you can probably only mainly get away from get away with that in a melee context where you can kite them around. And if I was using melee too, that exposes you so much more. That's always an objective advantage, like mage privilege or ranged privilege. Most enemies in games are always tuned to attack you in melee range, and so the majority of the time, if you're a range class, you can just kite them and not even worry about ever getting hit. Whereas if you're a melee character, you not only have to worry about avoiding them, but you also have to worry about going in, committing to hitting them, putting yourself at risk again, and then avoiding them again. Like, it just doubles up the problem. That's especially true, like, in Dark Souls style games. Like, so many things are made so much substantially easier just by you simply using a ranged weapon and never having to go in or commit anything. So this is not where we started, is it? This is something else. Will we ever collect those 3 bundles of bushes? Find out on the next episode, 3 fucking years from now. Holy shit. War Camp Gate. Tier 1. What does this mean? Is it going to be like a PvP free-for-all area where I can just get killed? Maybe I shouldn't wait to find out. Yeah, that's what I would do too, is I would make it like a 1-stat only character where I just only get intelligence the whole time. I used to be like you, then I took an arrow to the knee. Ha ha ha. Fuck. I wonder which game is going to be the bigger surprise or bigger disappointment, Elder Scrolls 6 or GTA 6. I almost don't like what they've done with GTA, with the emphasis on the online, where it almost feels like they, you know, there was no single player DLC for it because of that, or there was no certain mechanics even in the game, like gang wars or vigilante missions. So they almost stripped away some of the stuff that they could have put in there normally. And it doesn't have to be that one comes at the expense of the other, but it ultimately feels like that. They focused on the online so much that, you know, they almost stripped that a little bit, almost to force you to play online, maybe to encourage you to buy shark cards or whatever. So then it turns into, you know, just major loot luck trophy. Okay, I better not jump down there. Citadel Windsward. Why can't I seem to jump now, or I just keep spamming my stamina? So that's the one mechanic that can be a little confusing, is like, if you're, even if you have stamina, you can't do anything unless it's all the way back up or whatever. It's like, you might think, oh, why can't I block now? Right, even though you have stamina. So you never want to let it deplete all the way. You want to go here, then you want to go here. So even though I have 17, I could still do something like that. You just never want to let it completely hit 0. Which is why my double dash thing that I kept doing is so stupid, because I would just keep spamming it, and then, you know, the input is pretty close together. So you, oh, here we go again. But now there's going to be 2 together, and it's going to be, obviously, well, as long as it's not a range thing, I could get away with probably doing this. Same way as before. That stupid skeleton on the beach. Our damage isn't too bad either. Yeah, they definitely don't punish you too much with mitigation or anything, so you can do this as much as you want. You know, he could be 10 levels even higher than what he is, and he could have 10 times even more health, and it would just take... That's one thing with all the hard modes and stuff I do, where sometimes the challenge just comes from, oh, just give the enemy more health. I don't mind even if they give them more damage and stuff, but like, you can make anything theoretically way harder. It just takes longer to do if it just has more health, so that's sometimes not the most fun form of difficulty. And they don't even hit you for that much here, so it's not really that big of a deal. I assume it's the way that it works in some games, like it's 10 levels higher if it's a skull. But maybe it could even be like only 5 or 6, because I haven't... No, because I feel like I was fighting like certain things that... Oh, shit. Oh. It's the stamina that'll get you there. And I do it again where I... Okay, that didn't actually even heal me, or maybe it's doing it over time. Because you'll get stuck in the stamina loop of... I always feel bad for not finishing them off, too, if you took all this time. Fuck, man. Why they always gotta come out right at the end? Like, at least wait till I'm finished, bro. Or now he'll go away. This is always what it'll be. They'll lull you into a false sense of security because everything feels so easy up to a point, and then you'll get fucked as soon as there's a difficulty spike somewhere along the line. Let me just fight one thing at a time, though. Problem is my kiting tendency. As much as I'm abusing it for this purpose, I obviously won't be able to take advantage of... Or I just have to go back and forth through the same spot again and again. You shouldn't even really bother doing shit like that. Auto attack is fine with me. Monarchs bluffs the free rangers. Or there'll be some beginner's trap one-shot mechanic that's obvious to everyone, but if you don't know it, then that can always be fun to see. That you have to like work around all that with obviously not knowing anything about it. This is probably a better way of doing it. Just go around in circles. So exciting. But yeah, like that moment where I was hard stuck with my stamina was actually pretty scary. Yeah, I think personally though, I would have preferred if it didn't have that regenerating health. It might not be at... What the fuck, man? It might not be as impactful later, but... It's just a case where it's not going to save me now, though. I'm not even going to try to... No. Oh, Jukin with the tree. I have such a bad habit of letting my stamina deplete all the way. Jesus Christ, man. It can go from 100 to 0 really fast because obviously that's where that level distinction does come into play. Which again, you take for granted until you do see something that uses range shit. And then I should always make a rule like where, oh, I have to log out in a town so it doesn't feel like I can somehow... Either like I'm not putting myself in danger in the wild, like I'll log in and just die, or level 17. Okay, I shouldn't do that. Although for all I know, these could be close to that. Yeah, mechanically it's pretty fun. I don't know how the story's gonna be. I could do that some other time where I actually read all the quest text and get immersed in that. I do remember going around the town though very exhaustively now that I look at it though, where I maybe looked at every house and talked to every shopkeeper and things like that maybe. Here we go again. These should be giving me an insane amount of experience though. They don't really seem to be. Or I guess just for how long they take to kill, it wouldn't even be worth it. You could kill... Okay, shit. You could kill, like, way more things of a lower level that give you more total than in the amount of time and effort and risk that this takes. Such an unfair thing, man. I'm trying to fight something 10 levels higher, but they have to fucking gang up on me. Not that I have any reason to be doing this in the first place. Looks like an NPC. Or it could just be an enemy. Oh, is this the same? It can't be.
Old story. The wheel grinds on. Grinds us down, doesn't it?
Yeah, see, that's almost like the creepy old guy appearance I was trying to go for in the randomizer, which I got a couple times. Not exactly like that, but then I kept hitting randomize too fast, so then I couldn't ever catch it. Yeah, that's fine. We'll spare the turkey. See what this thing is. I don't know what the invasion thing exactly is. Flag for PvP. Oh shit, don't do that. Like it says upcoming invasion. Will we play for long enough to be able to see it? Probably not. Let's see, is this going to be a skull thing too, or is it going to be immune to fire, or it's not even an enemy? Fuck. Thought it was going to be some rock elemental or something that comes to life. Dragon Glory requires harvesting skill, but it seems like it sometimes still lets you do it, or let you attempt to do it with another one. Be interesting to look back and see, like, how similar would this have been to my other thing. Maybe I did the exact same thing every single time I play it. This is level 11. So this shouldn't be too bad to do. You have to be careful not to aggro too many things at one time here. Be cool if we got like an ice gauntlet or something else that we could try some other school of magic here too. That's got to be one of the biggest raids actually we've seen though. I think it was like 100+ people. That guy was pretty nice. It always happens with categories that I have no expectation or anything. Like with PvZ Hero, somebody will do it. It's like, I didn't even know anybody would be playing that game. I've become kind of more casual these days though. Like I only stream a lot lower average than what I used to do. You know, maybe an hour, 2 hours these days instead of like 3 to 6 or something that I would do back in the day. But the one thing I never break is I still always do it every day. I always just like that as a routine. And then when I stopped, I would just randomly stop. One day in 2019, I'm like, I've been doing it for years, every single day. And then I just stopped for like 2 years out of the blue, which is kind of a dumb thing to do. It's like I'm all or nothing, one extreme or the other. I probably could be going through some of the same areas over and over, and I wouldn't even necessarily know. Level 8 isn't too bad. This is at least a different type of enemy. But see, that's where enemy variety can even be deceptive, where it often doesn't matter because you're just face rolling through it so fast. Or, oh, look at this god level kiting because you can't climb over that. Or it's like all they're going to do is attack you in melee range anyway, so it barely even matters. Yeah, I want to tame one of these things as a pet. We got to introduce that mechanic somehow. Fuck. I should spare these things. But these aren't at least too over leveled compared to most of what we've been doing. So they kind of will interrupt it a little bit, but it's not like you have to channel it as you're doing it the way I thought with some of these, which would be kind of useless in a single player context because you need somebody to be tanking for you if that's the case, or maybe we'll get some ability that lets us summon an elemental. It doesn't feel like these weapons would have to do with abilities like that, though. Maybe like the void glove or something would do that. In fact, nothing's changed with those base weapon types that we see, right? The only other new one is the whatever, like the other something in a shield. I think everything else is exactly the same way that it is. I wonder what the consensus would be. What game is better, this or Elder Scrolls Online? Because this does seem more in the vein of that than anything else. And I was always afraid to play that because I was afraid of some sort of spoilers to do with the Elder Scrolls universe in any way. Like, even the most minor thing could bother me to the extent that, you know, I've played the other games in the series, but I haven't played them enough to my satisfaction. So it takes the rest of my life before I finally ever see every bit of lore and everything there is to them. So I wouldn't want that to somehow spoil it or trample over the lore. And that's sometimes what happens with these series, is like the Warcraft universe is especially bad for that. Instead of making Warcraft 4 or some other dedicated game in the universe, they instead just kind of keep retconning and expanding the MMO for so long with so many expansions and, you know, update after update. So it becomes like where they just have to bastardize the lore that you at one point might have taken seriously. Now, oh, there's this random content of Pandaria that we, you know, just pull out of our ass, and there's just this random stuff that we keep doing. So it makes it feel a little bit trivialized after a while. So whenever a game goes on for too long, that starts to happen. It goes from some sincere effort to tell the story to let's just try to extend the story as much as we can because it's so popular and we just have to keep it going somehow. Good old sequelitis problem. Jason X, where Jason goes into space to try to kill a bunch of... I don't know if that's actually a real thing or if it was just a joke that was told, but like we have Jason's body up in space and cryogenically frozen. And we have to, and then he gets loose, and we're on the space shuttle. You would think it must be a joke, but maybe it was a real movie, and I just almost can't believe it. Yeah, imagine if you died of that, like the aura of the fire flower that you're just standing next to it. They could do some residual damage. Which it doesn't even do, but it just would almost look like it could. Okay, maybe we'll rest in town here if this is even a town. I think there was one to the side here somewhere. Or yeah, even this, they copied Elder Scrolls with like the waypoint thing at the top. Certainly visually and mechanically it feels similar to that. And even with its maybe concessions to potential console play with respect to... Oh shit, he looks so pathetic, but that's just to bait you in. Or he'll randomly do this lunge. You almost feel bad for this poor guy, though. Fuck. Oh, come on, bro. This fucking ganging up shit. But it's easy to get away, even if you do abuse your stamina like that. Nothing is ever punishing me for this too much, like dazing me or something. Okay, I probably shouldn't go in here, but... I've not really had any hesitation with fighting stuff higher level. Let's just go back to a town here. Upgrade available. Yeah, that makes it even worse than usual in terms of time. Like how I don't have as much time these days, but even if I did have time, you would only be able to commit to, you know, certain games like this that you would play. It's more so not a flaw of a game itself. It's just the way that the genre works. You have to really commit to one hardcore for a long period of time, or again, I could always get a satisfaction out of just like, you know, the part of the game is just, how long are you gonna fucking chase me, dude? You know, getting from 1 to max level, just get the leveling experience is the game, as people would sometimes say with certain ones. Like, you know, the end game is its own game, but just simply getting from 1 to max level and just having that core experience, exploring the world, all of that can be the game in and of itself. One attack, one mechanic Andy over here. We've mastered it. I almost would want to duel someone just to see what it's like. I think we did do that the last time. Unless the duels are duels to the death, in which case that could be a fucking problem. Yeah, I love all the creative ways that people would come up to grief you, like the infernal Goldshire type of thing. So I'm sure even if it is a PvE server, there's still ways to kind of bait somebody or, you know, aggro stuff to them to get them killed or something like that. Which I don't really have to worry about people going out of their way to do that for me, because it's not like I'm a big, if you were a big streamer like Asmongold or somebody, I'm sure they would do that to you. Even if it wasn't a permadeath context, but obviously this makes it even worse. So I wonder if they ever give you a third weapon that you can equip at the same time. Probably not. Where was the town that we just saw? It must be like over here. Yeah, I didn't really do anything much aside from explore, but I could honestly get from 1 to max level like this, but it might start to feel grindy after a while. Be over here. This is gonna be like a standing stone type of thing. Give me like some blessing fast travel. I don't really want to use fast travel though. Yeah, nothing really seems to slow you down too much when you're trying to get away. It's kind of nice. Yeah, we didn't do any of the tutorial quests. I wasn't even making an effort to do that. And it doesn't really seem to lock anything too meaningful behind that. Maybe just more so to do with crafting. Sometimes it'll make it like, oh, you can't use some of your base abilities, or you can't use a certain weapon before you go through that. So I'm at least glad it doesn't do that. And I don't think it even did that necessarily before. People are going to be struggling to find groups, unfortunately, because it might, like, what are the chances that somebody's going to be playing with, again, maybe the reduced activity of the game? Not only that they'd be playing, but they'd be playing right now, that they'd be playing at the exact same level as you, that they'd be doing the exact same activity as you at this exact time. They need like a group finder mechanic, which everyone hated so much, and fuck, I thought this was a town. I could easily just go back and to the one we started at, but yeah, so many base mechanics I would just choose not to use. Like, I don't want to use the map, or I don't want to use the fast travel or anything like that, even though you're kind of using the radar here regardless. Let's see if we can retrace my steps back to a town somewhere. Yeah, that would always be a rule of my playthroughs. Like, don't log out in the wild, whether that's for safety or RP or something, I don't know, but or it makes it feel like you're somehow cheesing, like you could be in a dangerous spot, even though it's not going to let you log out in said dangerous spot. Or we can use that fire as almost a waypoint, because wherever we put that might have been closer to somewhere that I'd want to be. I feel like I've been through that area of the beach. That might have been where that one cave was. Maybe if I go back this way, it would be... I don't know. Got way off the beaten path here. But yeah, what is even the currency rate look like? Like, what is my total right now? 2140. Coin is capped at 500,000. But even bothers to do the decimal points in there. Your primary currency used to purchase the items in the trading post and at the faction shop. Completing missions, killing enemies, participating in events. And of course, it's immersion breaking that a random wolf would give you gold. Or I guess they could justify it in some de facto sense. Like, oh, it's not really the wolf giving you gold. It's the town giving you gold as a bounty for everything that you kill, or some kind of a thing like that. But and they magically just give it to you at exactly that moment. It must have eaten the gold from its past adventure that it ate, obviously, and then therefore it you extract it from it once it dies. That's a good way to justify it. And every single wolf has that exact same story. Where the fuck am I going? Or is this where I fought those skull? Yeah. So this will at least take me back. What else is even over here that I went through all the trouble of killing those, but then I didn't do anything? Fuck. yeah, they really don't scare me too much. Or I need the ice gauntlet so I can slow them down with that, assuming you'll get abilities like that there. We're kiting without even any real crowd control abilities that like slow them down and stuff. Yeah, this was sort of just a random thing that I felt like doing last week, but then I didn't have time, so. The spear was kind of cool. I like this sort of hybrid between range and whatever, but yeah, this will be the boomerang effect. Like, you'll do it, but then you just magically get it back. Like, what the fuck? I just have an infinite number of spears. That should be the penalty for such a strong mechanic, that you're using basically a melee weapon that can be used at range. So you just have to go and actually pick that shit up. Okay, so this is going kind of back in the same direction. Respawn point, which is obviously not relevant to us anyway. Let's try to maybe abuse some AoE type of thing here. AoE farming like in the fucking Plague Lands. I always hated doing that anyway, even being a mage. But yeah, the playstyles seem very free and open to you, that you can use them in any way that you want, interchangeably. After a while, sure, you might have committed to one, but it doesn't seem like going into one area with a particular weapon is going to prevent you from doing it with another one, so they're all kind of just independent. So even if you want to respec, you're only respecing with the one at a time, I think. Would this be the same fire that I put down? That would be kind of stupid. I guess it might be. And I never even fully made it, too. It's just like the outline of it. Or yeah, I could open the door for having done all these kind of series that might be long-winded if I just didn't play so much fucking chess. Of all things, I've been played more than that than anything in the last 2 years. I never would have thought that would have been the case. Not even because I like it that much, but I mean, that's part of it. I do like it, but part of it is just that it's so time consuming that if you're trying to make any progress with it, it just takes longer than everything else. But this was like the one little dungeon that we did here was just the, whatever, old title cave. I'm surprised we didn't find more things like that, or maybe I was just too afraid to try to pursue them if I did see them. Alright, come on. There's got to be a town close by now. Can't really remember exactly where we came from, though. We might have come through here. But you would think it would be on the waypoint thing at the top. Try to retrace our steps a little bit. Or even this could count. This could be like where that guy is standing there. That should be viable. Little outpost. This guy's going to be waiting a long fucking time.
Skinning knife. Then we are good to go.
Wait another 2 years before I play it again. The Northman Shipwright. Right Honorable Sir, Captain Tavares of the Vendetta has tasked me with finding a Northman shipwright named Didrik Gunderson. It is my understanding that you may be familiar with this man. I believe the rumors claiming that this Northman had become lost are entirely false. I have spoken to a quartermaster who saw him drinking in this very establishment. A queer thing for a withered to do, wouldn't you agree? If I may impose upon you, I request that you send immediate word to Captain Tavares' camp to see that should you see this Northman, the captain and I would make it worth your while. Indebted to you, Durate Pontus Shipwright. Yeah, this is what I almost seem to remember. So if you go back here, this might be the area that you would have started at originally. I don't know, it's hard to kind of envision what it looked like, but like I would just fight stuff around here, but it didn't seem like... And this wasn't like where you first started the stretch, like where you, before you pass out and everything. That's something else too. I can't really tell. And there's nothing even here to fight. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I never really would have the chance now to probably do the rating scene because there's probably so few people playing the game, or everybody who does play would be sort of a little bit of an expert or jaded. It's kind of a little different when you play a game at the baseline. Like if you, everything's still fresh to everyone, even though everyone still metagames and uses guides even right when a game comes out, I'm sure. Okay, that's good, I guess. Let's look at the servers again, though, because I'm curious about this. Like, let's look at some other regions. Maybe it's popular in Europe more or something. Just to see, like, what the player base is actually like. And of course, I'm playing on Steam, but that shouldn't make, like, any difference to it. Let's see, even Amazon is not big enough to subvert Steam as a platform. US East, yeah, look at that guy's eyes, dude. World, so there's only like 5 servers, which is so weird. You have poor connection to this region, 2 servers there, low. Let's see if we find a single one that's high. SA East, South America. Okay, 1, 2. Both low. El Dorado, US West, US East, we just saw, US Central. That's so weird. Population low. It went from low to medium in the course of me even playing it there. I played on Lilith because I'm a Diablo 4 fan. Haha, no, because whatever. It had the highest population, or it had whatever. This is meant for new players. Not that, again, it would really matter that much. Or what you would have to do sometimes is you would have to plan stuff outside of the game, right? Like you would have a Discord for like people who want to set up a raid. So the server's population will always be low, but there'll still be people who come in at only those times just to play, you know, in whatever sort of hardcore way that you want. I remember that being a thing in other games. Expedition Analytics. Learn more of the development of Garden of Genesis. Improve your experience and gain insight into boss stats. Let me actually look up something about it. Like, what were the expansions for the game or major updates? People were talking about one in particular that they really liked. 7 out of 10. Let's look at some Steam reviews. Mixed, mostly positive overall, so maybe over the course of time people have lost interest a little bit. The game is dead unless you have a full group to always play with. Don't buy it. Or what if you enjoy playing solo? If you don't have the $30 DLC, you can't have a mount. You block a player from reaching level 65. Can't play the new class. But isn't that to be expected, like an expansion? I wouldn't consider that such a big deal. Let's see. New World. Where is the fucking... There should be a Wikipedia page that tells the whole history, but it's telling me about the New World as a phrase from history. What the fuck? New World video game. There we go. 2021. But this would have been still before. Oh, this would have been pretty close to when I came back to streaming, because I came back in October 2021. So I would have played it like apparently September is when it was released, or maybe it was before that because it was still part of the beta. Let's just look at expansion history then. I'm not even seeing it, yeah. Synopsis. So there doesn't seem to be anything major here. There would have just been major updates and things like that. Released in 2021 globally. Server regions. Best video game soundtrack nominated. Best multiplayer nominated. Most reviews were 60 to 70 at the time globally. 5 server regions were available. Australia, Europe. It just nothing seems like super enthusiastic about it. It doesn't seem like a bad game, but it seems like it got kind of a lukewarm reception somehow. Explore Eternum in the open world MMORPG developed by Amazon Games. Let's see, what else has Amazon Games actually made? But yeah, it didn't seem to have like a major expansion. Which I guess has only been out for 3 years up to this point still, so it wouldn't have been that, or not even 3 years, because it would have been end of 21, 22. So yeah, it's only been out for 2 years though, so why would people feel like the game is already dead, or I don't know what you would expect. Like how soon would you have expected a major expansion then? Every 2 to 3 years would be fine, but maybe they never bothered to do it. New World, Lost Ark. Okay, I didn't even know that was made by them. Throne and Liberty, Blue Protocol coming soon, some cutesy anime vibe, Tomb Raider, Lord of the Rings game coming. An open world MMO. Wow. Glow Made. I don't know what the fuck that is. Throne and Liberty is a free-to-play MMO. Like, what is everything they make going to be an MMO? Lost Ark, you could sort of still consider that. Free-to-play online RPG. Collaborating with independent studio Glow Made, which would be developing a new game based on their original IP. Okay, see you tomorrow.